Hi, hello, Wandering In fans. I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review, and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today, we're talking about chapter 34 of book 1 of The Wandering Inn. Now, usually what I do with these videos is I will do a little intro, tell you guys how many chapters I'm planning to read, and then read the chapter, and then come back. But what I thought was, now I'm doing one chapter a week, it just kind of makes sense for me to read the chapter and then do the video. It makes the whole process, again, quicker, and also it does highlight when I've got time to read more than one chapter. Unfortunately, didn't have that today. While I'm committing to at least one a week, I do want you guys to know that I am hoping to be able to do more some weeks, just not today. Mostly very busy work day, to be honest. So, what happens in chapter 34? So, I have to try and not put the tablet in front of the microphone. Rightio. So, we're coming back to Erin this time, which is good. It's been a while since we've seen Erin. And she is... Sorry, cat's playing with the remote for the camera. You can't see him. He's literally like 1 millisecond off a frame. Barry. Here we go. A little bit closer. A little bit closer. This is a weird stop in that video. However, I'm sure Barry will come the few seconds closer that he needs to be in order to get a stroke in a minute. So, we're back with Erin. Really exciting to be back with Erin. Now, she is in the inn, and it seems like a little bit of time has passed because she's saying that Pawn and the workers come in every day, and she's referring to how they have money to spend. So it kind of infers to me that time has passed. Probably not much time, though, maybe a week or so since we last saw her. So the Antinium are continuing to come back with Pawn. I was hoping to get some Pawn in this chapter, but unfortunately no. But we do get someone we haven't seen for quite a while, really, or feel like I haven't seen for a while, which is Pisces, the necromancer, mage, etc., who was referenced by Cheria at the end of the last Ryoka chapter. So they're talking about how the inn needs some protection. This is the kind of the new thread that we're getting in the storyline. So Erin has to protect herself and protect the inn because the guardsmen are no longer patrolling the area. And Pisces is like, look, I don't have any trouble protecting myself because I'm a super powerful wizard, but you're going to have trouble. And she's like, oh, okay, like, why don't you teach me magic if you're so powerful? And as he's about to do a test on her to kind of, what it feels like, test her magical aptitude, a message spell arrives. One assumes that this is the spell from Cheria, asking him to heal Ryoka using necromancy. But we don't actually know yet what the message says. So when he receives the message, he's a bit annoyed, and then he just leaves the inn. One other thing is that Rags the goblin and her chums, her posse, are attending the inn frequently, but no other goblins. And Erin has, some extra rules for the goblins, like she hides the knives away and they're not allowed to bring in anything to the inn apart from themselves, and they have to wash before they go in. So yeah, there's quite a lot of conversation with Pisces, and again, it is good to see Pisces again because he's quite an interesting character, and obviously he's going to be involved in the Ryoka stuff, so it's really nice to see that paying off like straight away, so we don't have to like wait multiple chapters to see the Ryoka and Erin meet happen, which might be a while, but eventually it's probably going to happen. Then Erin goes into town, and she spends some time with Celis. And Celis is like, yeah, you do need to get some like protection. I can help you with a low-level adventurer. And then there's actually a scuffle between some adventurers and the guardsmen, and it's diffused by Relk, who is going to arrest the adventurers, running into Erin, and like, it feels like he kind of doesn't know what to do, and he's like, and just leaves. And so the adventurers kind of get away with it. And we learn that there's a lot more adventurers in town, and that it's kind of out of town belligerent adventurers because they're here for the dungeon that the Antinium found, because a shepherd has found it in the intervening weeks. So quite a lot of building on previous storylines this week. There's also some more we found out, but I'm going to run over that in a second. So the dungeon feels like something that is going to be, I don't know, like exploring the dungeon feels like it could be a big climax for this book, for the first volume of The Wandering Inn, because we've got the Antinium are interested in it, and there's something going on with it that is specific to the Antinium. They were investigating it with Klibich for a long time before things kind of moved on. And then we've also got the fact that there's loads of adventurers coming into town, and we're told that the monsters around the inn and possibly around the dungeon are like quite powerful and dangerous. So it's kind of like a dangerous, powerful, I don't know, it's like a dangerous part of town. So there's definitely something going on there. And if we're going to give, I don't really like giving predictions, I guess, but I will say prediction of the week is that the climax for book 1 will take place in the dungeon. It'll be very funny if Pirate Abba is just setting up this dungeon to be like the main thing in like book 8 or something, and this is like part of the rewrite is she's adding in all this they are adding in all this sort of foreshadowing. So very interesting with the dungeon stuff. It feels like we're going to have a new character introduced, because they keep they keep talking about how Erin needs protection at the inn. Like, is Rags and her crew of goblins going to be the like bodyguards for the inn? Is Erin going to learn magic? It kind of feels like Erin might be learning magic. And I wonder if her skill, Immortal Moment, is going to play into that magic in some way. Like, is she going to become... is she going to be able to use that combined with magic to be able to do some interesting stuff? And also, the other thing is that it's been established before that Erin levels insanely quickly. So is she going to kind of multi-class into this mage stuff and then become like super powerful? That would be really interesting. So after we do the market scene with Celis takes Erin back to her house, and she describes the house weirdly, so I like definitely want to know what's going on there. But she's talking about the region and how Liscor is like the only safe way through the mountains that are around them. And the mountains are so dangerous that even high level adventurers wouldn't go there. I'm pretty certain the dragon lives in the mountains from the original like the opening to chapter 1, and we haven't seen the dragon for like 30 chapters, so don't know what's going on there. Maybe there is something going on, but yeah, we haven't seen the dragon for a really long time, so it'd be good to see what's going on with that plot thread. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so we've got the they're talking about the geography, and there's also an interesting thing where she mentions Zel Shivertail. So Celis mentions Zel Shivertail brought down the necromancer that was like taking over the region with the Antinium, and Erin's like, she looks proud of that because the Zel guy has Celis's last name. So based on Celis's age, based on when we know that Antinium came to town, Celis is probably the daughter of this Zel Shivertail, right? Or maybe sister or wife, I guess. But I think Celis is described as being Erin's rough age, and Erin says she's 20 in this chapter specifically. So don't know there. Interestingly, Ryoka and Erin are not the same age. I kind of expected Erin to be like 25, but because we know she's 20, we know that Ryoka's 22, I think. Maybe she's 22. 20 as well, not 22. You guys know what I mean. So it's interesting to get some knowledge about the geography of Israel, and also, officially putting the name to the place of Israel. And I don't know, because I think, we've established that Pirate Arbor isn't great at geography and maps. I don't actually really know how far away Ryoka and Erin are from each other. It seems like that Ryoka will have to go through the high passes, through Liscor to get to Erin. But I think the interesting thing for me is, like, how do you get somebody who's is basically about to lose their leg because it's like completely smushed? How do you kind of get them from one place to the other? Or maybe Cheeria gets Pisces to teach her a spell rather than brings Erin to them. But it makes kind of sense that the Horns of Hammerand might end up protecting the inn, if that makes sense. Well, there's not enough bedrooms at the inn for all of the characters to live in, but I guess we'll get that when we come to it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. So the final thing, the chapter ends on Celis telling Erin that the surrounding area around her inn has lots of destroyed villages from when this necromancer was about, and that there's lots of weird stuff going on, and maybe there's treasure and things for her to investigate. And Erin's like, I've got to know what's going on around the inn, so I'm going to look into it. And Celis is like, no, you can't do it. Like, you really shouldn't do it. So I'm excited to see what's going on around the inn, and if we can find out more about the local area, maybe find out more about this necromancer. So theory of the week is that Erin becomes a super powerful super mage, and that the dungeon is going to be where the book ends. So that'll be the end of book 1. There'll be like a climactic thing that'll happen in the dungeon. That's my guess. I'm liking Celis and getting to spend more time with her. Again, good to be back with Erin. Good to be back with Pisces, who is fun. No matter how annoying he is, he's always fun on the page, and Rags the Goblin, still very intriguing. Still want to know what's going on. Like we said before, it seems like she's a goblin who can level, or maybe all the goblins can level, I think, but she's like got the aptitude for it. She's smart. So, and Erin knows how to make alcohol, and she's going to start making alcohol. So that's interesting as well. So lots of good things happening in this one. Next week is another Erin chapter, I think. Oh no, it's a Ryoka chapter. So we're back with Ryoka next week. I guess that's a good place to end it. So I will see you guys next week for our next Ryoka chapter, which will be 135. Book 1, chapter 35. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to chat with me about this week's chapter, please do remember, no future spoilers. I've not read this before. Then please do so down in the comments. On your way down to the comments, why don't you click that subscribe button, because I upload a new chapter of The Wandering Inn every single Thursday, and I have not missed a week. So I'm pretty proud of that streak, and I don't see it stopping any time in the near future, because I really love reading The Wandering Inn. I love chatting with you guys in the comments every week, and I do reply to every single comment that comes in pretty much. So unless it's offensive or whatever, but none of them have been. And it's been great to see some people commenting on some of my old videos as well, and some of the old Wandering Inn episodes, and catching up on the series. So if you've had fun with us today, then please do subscribe, and I will see you next week.